Speaks. It's Jared and Bob flying at you on a potential Monday morning for you, Sunday night for us. So right out of the gate, I kind of want to get into this whole shit that's going on with Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know if you heard. You probably didn't. It's not like that big, but I'll give you the background. So last week at some point, well, it aired last week at some point. I don't know when it was actually recorded, but Donald Trump went on the Full Send podcast, which is like the Nelk Boys and Bob Menery. So some people might know who Bob Menery is. He's the guy that does all the crazy like over voiceovers on some of like the videos, like funny sports videos and shit. But he's on a podcast with the Nelk Boys. Again, I don't know who really any of them are. Like, I know who Bob Menery is, but I don't know who any of the other guys are. And I saw there was this whole big hullabaloo, right? Because Trump went on a podcast and they talked about shit. And I heard a lot of different comments about it. Like, people, obviously everyone has a fucking opinion on it. So I was like, all right, let me listen to it. Right. Because I went on Spotify and it was up there and it was only like 50 minutes long. Like it was just under an hour. So I was like, sure, I'll add it to my queue. I listened to it. Nothing groundbreaking. Like there was nothing in there that was crazy. It's stereotypical Donald Trump, like straightforward. It was a little weird because they were like very bro-y, like the guys from the Full Send, like they went to him at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, like that's the place that he owns or whatever. And they kept calling him like Donnie and like Donald, like, all right, Donald. It's like, okay, like, and I don't know that's the first time I've ever listened to their podcast. Maybe like that's their shtick, is that they're like bro-y, like fratty kind of, you know what I mean? But like, he's a former president of the United States. Like, it's not hard to be like, well, Mr. President. Like they never once called him Mr. President. It was Donnie, it was Donald, it was Don. Like, I don't even think they called him Mr. Trump, which if you want to call that my old man yells at a cloud moment, then so be it. But I just thought that was a little, in a way, disrespectful. But still, like, it's not that big of a deal. He didn't care. He didn't say anything about it. Again, Trump didn't say anything new. Like, he didn't say anything that he's really never said before. He shit talked Biden a little bit. It wasn't heavy in that. He was mostly just talking about like why, if he was still president, things would have been much better. They asked him if he was going to run again. And he was like, he flat out was like, well, because of campaign finance laws, like I can't actually make an official announcement and I can't say anything on it, but I think everyone's going to be really happy with what happens. So he said he's running without saying he's running because of like the legality of it. But again, like, it was fine. I think so I actually really liked Bob Menery on it because I feel like Menery pushed back with him at times. Like there was a couple things that he was saying. And again, I listened to this, you know, at this point, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. So I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember as I was listening being like, oh, that's Menery, because his voice sounded familiar. And he would be like, well, are you sure about that? Or like he actually pushed him. I think the other guys that were on the podcast with him were more like, I don't know, trying to have a good time, I guess you would say, like kind of egging him on in a way also too. But I think Menery actually, don't get me wrong. He's not like fucking Walter Cronkite out there asking like hard questions either. But I think Menery at least like asked some follow-up questions and some things that I was like, oh, okay. Like that's a decent question. Or like, he wasn't like like a fanboy, I guess. But so that happened. And I mean, it's called the Full Send podcast. If anyone out there is listening, wants to listen to it, I don't know the episode number. It's the Full Send podcast, the episode with Donald Trump. Like, it's not that fucking hard to find. So if you want to check it out, go. Unfortunately, you can't watch it on YouTube because YouTube took it down. And again, I listened to it. There was nothing that he said that was like out of this world. Like, he didn't make any extemporaneous claims or anything like that. Like, he was just Donald Trump. He said a couple dumb things. Like, at one point he did mention like the election. It was like, oh yeah, you know, the rigged election and that shit. And he's like, well, they don't want me to talk about that. And, you know, but it wasn't like, he didn't like give specifics. He didn't say like what he used to say, like, oh, well, overnight in Michigan, they found X amount of votes and this was rigged and that's rigged and it's fake. He didn't say any of that. He just was like, well, yeah, you know, no one wants me to talk about the election that was rigged. And then they kind of like went on, like they went back and forth a little bit on it, but he didn't get into details, and YouTube took it down. YouTube took down the episode, and Trump actually said that by the end of the podcast. He was like, well, you know, you guys, you'll see what happens after this. He goes, and he kind of like, being Trump, he's fucking around with them. He's like, yeah, you know, if you even have the balls to post it, you know, we're doing this interview, but, you know, we'll see if you guys even post it. And that's when Menery was like, oh no, we'll post it. He was like, we don't care. He goes, and he goes, me in particular, like, I don't give a shit about what anybody has to say, because I'm pretty sure Menery does pretty well. Like, I think he's gotten some sponsors off of his commentary stuff.
Yeah, he has. He voices Buffalo Wild Wings.
That's right. He does that too. So, so he was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. He goes, I'm posting it. But like, you know, he was giving him a hard time, and Trump was like, oh, well, you'll see what happens because you talk to me. All these things will start happening to you guys, and your careers are going to start to turn upside down. And, you know, we'll see if you guys post it. And they just kept being like, no, it's going up. It's getting posted. So that was like a little back and forth, like by the end of it. But it's funny because Trump knows, like he knows. He was like, they're gonna fuck with you. Like, they're gonna take this down. And lo and behold, YouTube took it down. They just said it was misinformation. They were like, you can't spread misinformation. And like I said, I listened to the whole thing.
Yeah, well, it's easy because if he said the election was rigged, then that's their misinformation.
Yeah, but it's bullshit that they'll take down an hour-long episode over a passing comment. Like, he talked about COVID, and it's not like he said that he didn't say anything bad about COVID. He said, I think we did a great job with COVID. My vaccines, you know, because he was there with the beaker and the graduated cylinders. Yeah. Operation Warp Speed was passed under him as being president. And he talked about, we did a great job. We did a great response. The vaccine rollout, they were my vaccines, in all this stuff. He's going and said everything was great. So he didn't talk shit about COVID. Like, he didn't talk shit about that stuff. It was just that one little comment about the election.
That's enough.
But YouTube took it down. Like I said, it's still up on Spotify. That's all I use to listen to podcasts. So I would imagine it's also up everywhere else. But so that's the backstory on this. So again, everyone obviously has a fucking opinion on it. And Jimmy Kimmel, of all people, came out. It was probably like Thursday-ish of last week on his night show that 32 people watch at this point. And shit all over it. He goes, well, first he started shitting on the Nelk boys and Menery. So I'll read you this is a direct quote. He goes, these guys, they show up at Mar-a-Lago in sweatshirts and shorts, logos all over their clothes. I'm sorry. What? You're mad because they showed up in sweatshirts and shorts and they had logos on their clothes? That's what you're going after them for. That's how you're going to try and discredit them, because they had logos. Oh, you can't do an interview with a Nike logo on your shirt. Heaven forbid. Like, dude, do you hear yourself? Like, what the fuck are you doing? So then he goes on, he rips them even more. And then this is my favorite part. He goes, Trump sits down for an hour. This is a direct quote. Trump sits down for an hour with them during a war to answer the dopiest questions.
What does the war have anything
What
to
does
do
the
with?
war have to do with anything? Number one, the United States isn't in the war.
Yeah.
It's a war between Russia and the Ukraine. The United States has not really gotten, we've kind of gotten involved, but we're not fully involved. There's no boots on the ground. Number two, what the fuck do you want Donald Trump to do? He's not the president anymore.
Right.
Like, what is he supposed to do?
Which someone like Jimmy Kimmel should be well aware of.
Yeah. Trump, the direct quote, Trump sits down for an hour with them during a war to answer the dopiest questions. He's not the president, dude. What's Obama doing right now? Oh, can you believe Barack Obama sat down for an interview in the middle of a war? Oh, where's George Bush? Oh, can you believe George Bush went to a Dallas Stars game in the middle of a war? Can you believe how could Bush do that? Like, he's not the president anymore. Who gives a fuck what he's doing? I think technically he would be considered a civilian again, right? Like, you go back to civilian life. I mean, you're not an ordinary civilian, but you technically you no longer work for the federal government.
No.
So, like, what the fuck do you want him to do? But like, those two comments in particular are the ones that like stood out. And I'm like, and then, so then more, and this is like Jimmy Kimmel's like monologue that he starts off the show with. He says that, and then he says something along the lines of, so now the other ones were direct quotes. Now I'm paraphrasing. He said something along the lines of like, these dopey podcasts, and, you know, they're essentially called podcasts stupid, and said that no one pays attention to them. So fast forward a couple of days, and Bob Menery catches wind of what Jimmy Kimmel said and starts going after him. And then a bunch of people just light up Jimmy Kimmel on social media because they go, hey, Jimmy, their podcast gets more downloads every episode than your show nightly. Like, your nightly show, I think, gets like 40,000 views. Their podcast gets millions of downloads every episode. Like, now it might be like, you know, 1 million downloads, you know what I mean? But it's like hundreds of thousands to like 1 million, you know, like they're obviously not Joe Rogan level of 11 million downloads per episode, but Jimmy Kimmel's shitty fucking Tonight Show that sucks, that he sucks, and gets 35,000 views a night, is going after these guys saying that the podcasts are dumb when they do probably, I don't know, what is that? 25 times the viewership that he gets. Like, the whole thing is so fucking stupid. So moral of the story to me here is Jimmy Kimmel is a fucking cunt, basically.
Yeah, I don't get what his problem is. I mean, I also didn't see what he said or anything, so that's part of why I don't get what his problem is. But like, what's the issue? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Is he mad that someone interviewed Trump?
Basically, that's what it sounds like. Because everyone in the media can't take fucking the name Trump out of their mouth. Like, the dude hasn't been in office.
Fucking crazy.
The dude's been out of office for 2 fucking years, and people are still talking about him. Like,
it's kind of fucking wild.
It is not kind of wild. It is insanely wild that, like, even the administration, like Jen Psaki, the press secretary, like when she goes and gives like statements, like now, people will ask her questions and she goes, well, you know, the previous administration, whatever. And it's like, dude, you're 2 years into this administration. What have you, like, you're still blaming the last guy when you've been in power. It's been your job for 2 years. What have you done? You can't blame the last guy when you've held the position for 2 years. I mean, like, the statute of limitations is gone now. Like, you're 2 fucking years into this thing. Like, by the end of this calendar year, you're pretty much going to have to start your election cycle. Like, because it's going to be most of 2023 is they're going to start campaigning and doing that shit. And then the whole first half of 2024 is going to be balls to the wall campaign. And it's like, you're, I don't know, call it 10 months away from like starting your campaign cycle, and you're still blaming the last guy.
So if Biden gets reelected, do they still talk about the previous administration?
That would be really interesting. He won't. He definitely, he shouldn't be reelected. But I'm sure we'll talk more about it as it gets closer, but because I don't really know too much about it now. But I think this fall is going to be an absolute fucking bloodbath if the Republicans cannot do dumb shit, right? Which is a big ask because the Republicans are pretty fucking stupid in and of themselves.
Yeah, they're politicians.
But the Democrats have done such a bad job in the first 2 years of this administration that all the Republicans need to do is not fuck it up. Like, don't do something fucking stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just don't. Just you're on the playoff hole for the fucking championship. You hit the ball into the fairway. Don't hit your second shot into the bunker. Lay it back. Just play it safe. Chip on. Get out of there with par, and you're good to go. Like, because the Democrats hit their ball into the fucking water off of the tee. Like, just play. Like, but they can't. They can't do that. So I'm sure they'll fuck it up at some point over the summer. Like, that was the whole thing. I forget what was going on when the Democrats were doing something like really bad. I forget what it was. Or not the Democrats in general, but it was like something really fucking stupid. Was it the whole defund the police thing when they were like actually passing legislation to defund the police, and everyone's like, whoa, that's really fucking stupid. But then like 6 days later, the Texas fucking Senate or House or whatever passes that law about abortions. And then everyone's like, well, fuck the Republicans. Like, they're fucking assholes. And then they go all up in arms. And it's like, oh, you guys don't get it. You just don't get it. You can't keep your fucking mouth shut. It's like, all you have to do is just not fuck it up. And they can't do that because they're just as fucking retarded as the Democrats are, just in the opposite direction.
Yeah, again, see, that's the problem. It's politicians. They're all the same, but they just are on different teams.
Yeah. My hope is that, again, I haven't really looked too much into it. But my hope is that this election, the midterms in obviously this fall in November, bring in some non-traditional politicians. So I'm trying to think of some of the people. So the one I know just off the top of my head is Graham Allen, who is a conservative out of South Carolina. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says. He's a little too, like, he is a traditional, like, Bible Belt conservative. But I do like some of the things that he says. But he's a Instagram guy. He got famous on Instagram because he was posting videos of him ranting in the car. Like, there would be some sort of like current event topic going on, and he would place his phone on the dashboard of his car and just go off on like a 2 to 3 or 5 minute rant. And like, he became famous off of that. And like, he's running for Congress, I think it is. I don't think it's the Senate. I think he's running for his district seat in Congress in South Carolina. There's another guy who's really fucking good that I can't remember his name. I think it's Joe Kent. He's a former Green Beret. I think I've listened to him on a couple different podcasts, but he's running for Congress in the state of Washington, I think. He's really good, but he's not a politician. He was a former Green Beret. And then I think he was a self-business entrepreneur. Like, he owned a couple small businesses, and then he got into politics because he was like, this, enough is enough. Like, I'm going to try and run and do something. So my hope is that like those type of people not only run, but also win. And then slowly but surely things start to change. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to change with the 2022 election, because out of all of the seats that are available, I don't know how many are available, but if there's whatever 400 in Congress, in the House, say there's, I don't know, 200, right? Say there's 200 of them. If 50 out of the 200 are won by people that aren't traditional politicians, and that's either way, I don't give a shit whether it's Republican or Democrat. Like if it's someone like a Tulsi or like someone who's like an independent thinker that's not a traditional Republican, I think that's a step in the right direction. Like I said, I don't give a fuck if it's Republican or Democrat. I just want someone who's a real person and isn't going to be like, well, what do the corporations want? It's no, what do the people in my district want? Because that's your fucking job. So again, like I said, if 50 of those people get elected in the fall, it's a step, but I don't expect anything to change. But if they do a good job and stay in, and then in 2024, you get maybe 50 more, well, now that's half. That's half of the House of Representatives. So then maybe in 2026, you get a majority of the people in there that are not your lifelong Congress people. And that's asking a lot, I know. But it's one of those things where like, I hope that this is like a domino effect, that like, maybe 12 years from now, once we go through a few different election cycles, we hopefully have weeded out most of the bullshit. There's always going to be bullshit, right? Because it's politics. And there's going to be people that go in with great intentions. And then when they get in 18 months or less, maybe 9 months into their term, Lockheed Martin fucking knocks on their door and goes, hey, I need you to vote on this. And if you do, I'll write you a nice check. I'll give you a good donation for your next campaign. And it's like, people are going to get corrupted by that because that's what it is. You know what I mean? So for the good people that like the good 50 that might get in, you might lose 15 of them over the course of a cycle. It's a constant fucking battle, and it's going to take a really long time. But I feel like now is when people are actually trying and the public is ready for it. Because forever it's been, well, no, I'm not going to waste my vote and vote for that guy. He's not a politician. Or a lot of times people that weren't traditional politicians wouldn't even bother running. You know what I mean? Like someone like a Joe Kent 10 years ago would be like, I have no business getting into politics. I'm not a politician. But like Trump kind of broke the system there because he traditionally, in a traditional sense, had no business getting into politics because he's not a politician, and he fucking won. So he kind of, broke the wheel a little bit in that sense to pave the way for guys like a Graham Allen, who, again, I say that I just use his name as an example because he's a popular one and it comes to my mind. Again, he's not my favorite, but he's not a politician. So he's better, at least in that sense for me. But, it's a slow process, right? So who knows? Maybe it takes 12 years. Maybe it takes 20 years. Maybe we don't even make it that far because we fucking blow ourselves up and nuke ourselves to death.
We can only be so lucky.
Yeah. But, it's one of those things where it's like, just we need something. We need something to fucking happen. So
it would be nice. I mean, I don't trust that it will happen, but anything that gets us away from where politicians are at right now would be fucking great because they all suck.
Yeah, they all do. But I would say most of them. I don't know enough of their, like, even a guy like Ron DeSantis, like, I'm sure he has done and said some shit that like I wouldn't agree with. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, like, like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, there's no politician, there's no person really that I would agree everything that they say 100%. There shouldn't be, right? Like, you shouldn't ever agree 100% with another person. Like, there should be some sort of differing opinions. Like, you and I don't agree on everything 100%. You know, like,
Well, that's because I'm smarter than you.
well, yeah, obviously. But like Amy and I don't agree on everything 100%. Like you should never totally agree 100% across the board on everything with someone, because there's a problem there. Like why? Why is that? Like there's something. Like there needs to be some sort of difference. There needs to be some sort of discussion. That's how you learn, and that's how you figure shit out, is by having differing opinions, right? So
No, you're only supposed to listen to people who have the same opinion as you.
yeah. Well, that's how things work now on social media, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and YouTube and fucking all that
Everything.
bullshit. Yeah. Oh, you don't believe what I believe? Oh, clearly you're a Nazi.
Obviously.
Obviously, if you don't think how I think, you're a Nazi. So, that's easy.
That was easy.
Yeah. That was like, I think we talked about that on here with Sexy Chris when him and I had the conversation about he relayed a conversation with me that he had with his friend about Ukraine, and how his friend was like, yeah, Putin's a fucking piece of shit, like went off. And Chris was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's a good guy, but like, I don't know. He might be doing something that he thinks is right. And then immediately the person just fucking went off. And it's like, you got to look at it from his side too, right? I think we did talk about that.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to if I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get outraged.
Yeah. But like, there's some stuff coming out now about Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Like, he's not that great of a guy either. Like, he's kind of a piece of shit.
Imagine that.
And it's like, because now he's using this Russia thing as a way to remove political parties in the Ukraine. He is like pretty much just wiping them out, being like, XYZ political parties are no longer allowed in this country because they're a threat to our democracy, or whatever, plug and play, whatever fucking word you want to use there. And it's like, hey man, that sounds a lot like what Vladimir Putin did when he got started in the early 2000s, right? He was like, oh, these people are a threat to our country, so we need to not allow their political parties in here. But like, if you mention that, someone will fucking jump down your throat and be like, oh, how could you? I stand with Ukraine. Hashtag stand with Ukraine. Did you change your profile picture to a blue and yellow flag? Have you put it in your Twitter bio? And it's like, no, I haven't, because it doesn't do anything. And also, like, he's a politician. They're all politicians. So yeah. Putin, by definition, Putin's a piece of shit, right? We know he is. Like, I talked about that on a previous episode too. He's ex-KGB, like an agent. He was an agent in the KGB. So he's killed hundreds of people, if not more, or at least responsible. Zelensky, politician, he's a piece of shit, right? Fuck him. Like, there's mayors in the Ukraine, they're talking like all these things. He's a piece of shit. There's a guy who runs, I don't know if who are the guys? Chechnya. I don't know if Chechnya has a president or if they have like a governor, because they're now part of Russia again. Whoever runs Chechnya, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Chechnya is a good place.
Yeah. Well, they gave us what's his face?
The bomber.
The guy. Oh yeah, that's right too. Fuck that guy. Isn't that where, I can't think of his name. The UFC guy, the undefeated guy who was really fucking good. He beat Connor.
I have no idea. Oh, Khabib?
Khabib, yeah. Jesus Christ. What am I having a fucking stroke?
He's from Chechnya?
I think so. Or Dagestan. Yeah. I think Dagestan might be part of Chechnya. I don't understand any of that shit. It's all the same. It's all Russia. Like, let's be real. It's all fucking Russia. So, but it's like, God forbid you try and have that conversation with someone to be like, hey, why don't you try and look at it from Putin's point? Because now there's shit coming out that like there were some United States sponsored biolabs across the Ukraine. So for those of you that might be, a little geographically impaired. Ukraine borders Russia, right? Thanks to Kamala Harris, she explained that to us. Have you ever heard that video or seen it?
No.
Someone asked her and she goes, well, Ukraine is a country and it borders Russia, which is a bigger country. And Russia is trying to like invade the Ukraine, which is bad. Like that's pretty much like how she said it and what she said. Be like, wow, she's fucking stupid. So
that was a good breakdown though.
Yeah, great breakdown. So it's now come out that there have been some United States sponsored biolabs in the Ukraine. So let's flip it, right? Let's play the game. Let's look at it. So Putin sees this in a country that borders his country, right? And now the Ukraine, for the last part of the reason why all of this conflict has happened is because the Ukraine has been trying to join NATO, which is like the North Atlantic Trade Organization or whatever. It's like essentially it's the United States and a bunch of countries in Europe that exist to be anti-Russia, really, because Russia has tried to join NATO in the past, and they've been everyone in NATO, all the countries are like, now we're good, now we're full, we don't need you. So it was started, I think, during the Cold War to combat the Soviet Union, right? So that's like the history of it. So anyway. Russia, the country that borders it, Ukraine, is trying to join an organization that is anti-Russia. Meanwhile, there are laboratories in the Ukraine sponsored by the United States, owned and operated by United States, that are working on God knows what, some biological fucking hazard things, right?
Maybe they're researching novel coronaviruses.
Maybe they are. Yeah. Because we all know that those sometimes exist depending on who you ask and what the time of year is. So Russia's like, nah, fuck this. We're going to go in and we're going to fuck shit up. And everyone's like, oh my God, how could Russia do that? Well, let's turn it around. Let's say Russia goes to Mexico and starts building biological laboratories in Mexico that are researching God knows what, anthrax, novel coronaviruses, who knows? They're just biolabs, right? What do you think the response of the United States would be? Probably not good, right? Probably cool. Want to go in and handle that, right? Because I can tell you, we had a similar situation back in the 60s, where the then Soviet Union didn't have biolabs, but they actually had missiles in Cuba. We didn't like that so much. So what did we do? We tried to overthrow the Cuban government, which didn't work because we fucked it up royally, a la the Cuban Missile Crisis. So can you see maybe where the similarities would be as to like, hey, we didn't really like it when Russia put ballistic missiles 90 miles off the coast of Florida. So we went and tried to do something and we just fucked it up and it didn't work. And now Russia is a little pissed off that we have biolabs, hundreds of miles outside of their border. And we just expect them to just sit there and fucking take it.
Yeah, but you got to remember it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Because people
it's
don't
different because
like
it's not us. We can do whatever we want.
Well, it's different because people don't like Putin.
Yeah.
And Russia equals scary, I think. I don't know. I don't know where Russia stands right now. Yeah.
And it's like,
again, still like at the gym, I was like, someone's like, oh, it's kind of a big deal. I go, why? Like, oh, Russia invaded another country. I'm like, so
yeah.
And I think it was like right around the time that we spoke with either Sexy Chris or Jones or both or neither. I don't fucking know. And I'm like, let me know if China gets involved.
Yeah, seriously.
Or like, let me know, like, yeah, like, let me know if China, like again, either let me know when we're going to go fuck them up, or let me know when China gets involved and we have an actual problem on our hands.
Right.
And even then, what the fuck am I going to do about it?
Nothing. Just talk about it on this podcast.
Like, that's the thing too. Like, I stand with the Ukraine. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any skills?
Yeah.
That would help the Ukrainians?
Yeah. What have you actually done besides change your profile picture?
Well, I support them.
I talk about it. I support them. All right, 6. So you've done nothing.
Like, what have you done?
The answer is nothing.
Because at least like I've done nothing.
Right.
But I'm not hiding behind.
Right. I'll tell you I've done nothing. Like, what have you done for Ukraine?
And nothing. Again, it's like, I was like, you could like send the money. It's like, well, what money? Like they need actual money, and I don't have any. So what the fuck? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to help?
Yeah. The U.S. government just sent $800 billion to fucking Ukraine.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a $20 donation and have it fucking matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, so, but there are some people, like there's some people that are literally like going there, right? Like they're flying to like fucking Poland or Slovakia or whatever, and they're like going to help. Those people, kudos, man. Like you're actually doing something.
Credit to you.
But like the person that fucking, you know, the 22-year-old pink-haired fucking girl that's like, oh, I stand with Ukraine. Oh, how dare you? How dare you insinuate that Putin might be doing something or not say that Putin's a piece of shit? It's like, well, I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it from like a logical perspective here. Like, I'm sure he thinks he's doing the right thing for his country, right? He's the fucking leader of the country. He's been the leader of this country for 20 years, 2 decades. If he really wants to continue to be the leader of his country, why would he do something that he thinks would destroy his country? Right? Like, he probably thinks he's doing the right thing. So, okay, that doesn't mean it is the right thing, right? And it's fucked up. I'm not defending Russia because they've killed civilians and they fucked shit up and they're pieces of shit, right? But like, that also doesn't mean that the Ukraine and the United States are innocent here. Like, both sides can be pieces of shit. Like, everyone involved sounds like they suck. Like, yes, Putin can suck at the same time, but also Zelensky can suck. And also the United States can be doing some sketchy shit in the Ukraine that would piss off Russia in the first place. Like, all of those things can be true simultaneously.
Aren't people who actually know what they're talking about saying that the way Zelensky's acting actually isn't consistent with someone that wants to avoid World War III? Like, and I don't know what I'm talking about, so you got to take that with a fucking grain of salt. But it's like when he makes these like calls to arms and like, yeah, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition, like whatever. And it's like some of the other stuff he's done, I've heard some people say it's not consistent with someone that wants to avoid a conflict.
Well, he's asked the United States to institute a no-fly zone in the Ukraine, which literally would start World War III. So like, don't sit there and tell the world that you're trying to avoid conflict and then ask the United States to institute a no-fly zone, which means that they would shoot down Russian aircraft, which is an act of war, which would start World War III. Like, those things cannot be simultaneously true. Right. The other things I said before can be, but like, you can't say you want to end the conflict and then also ask for a no-fly zone.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know what Zelensky, like personally or Ukraine, has to gain from the US getting involved, but I forget that was like someone else's thing. It's like, it just doesn't, they were like, he's not just acting like someone. They go like again, like everything he says that like is like, oh, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition. It's like, oh wow,
yeah,
what a cool guy. It's like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. He knows the cameras are on him. Yeah, essentially. He's also an ex-actor. I found that out because now the big thing, Netflix put his show on Netflix. They bought the rights. They bought the rights to this Ukrainian TV show that Zelensky was on 15 years ago before he got into politics. And they're like, yeah, look, we support the Ukraine. We have a show with Zelensky from 15 years ago on it that you can watch. It's like, how does that support the Ukraine again? I'm watching a TV show that's probably in another language. It's probably in Russian. I don't know what Ukrainians speak. Do they speak Ukrainian or is it
I have no
Russian?
idea.
I'm assuming it's almost the same as Russian. Like
It's got to be. It's got to be pretty close because they were part of the Soviet Union, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Like it might be a situation like an Italy situation where like Northern Italy doesn't really understand Sicily. Like I'm sure but it's like at its basis is still fucking Russian. You know, like someone from Mexico probably can't really understand someone from Spain, but it's still Spanish. You know what I mean? Like it's probably still Russian. It's just a little bit different. But like, yeah, no, thank God for Netflix. Thank God they fucking put their show on.
Yeah, they saved the day.
Yeah. Which the other thing too is like how people are so fucking stupid now is that they're just canceling everything. Like they're just like canceling random fucking people. I forget exactly what happened or what it was, but there was somebody that was a musician, like a classical musician. I think maybe I want to say violinist. But there was someone who was Russian, right? Who was supposed to put on some sort of artistic performance, some sort of musical performance. And whatever city they were supposed to be in, let's call it New York City, because we're just making shit up, because why not? They canceled the show. They were like, yeah, we're not allowing this person to play their show because they're Russian. Yet the person came out publicly against what Russia was doing and against Putin himself. But just because they're Russian, they canceled the fucking show. Like, are you guys really that fucking stupid? Because we've joked about it. We talked about
stupid
it, right?
Or hypocritical?
Well, yeah, that hypocritical, whatever. Choose all of the above.
Because if you change the terms of that, it would be racist and or xenophobic.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But because it's Russian or it's Russia and Russia equals scary right now.
Yeah.
Then it's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably like back in the day when like Asian equaled scary.
Yeah.
And then, if you lived in Germany, Jew equals scary or something, or Jew equaled threat. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds similar. No. It's way different. Must be way different.
No,
this
is way
different. This is Russian.
Yeah. Oh, Russian vodka. Yeah, we're not going to sell it in the stores anymore. What? Yeah, well, no, we're Stolinaka, the vodka, changed its name to Stoli because it no longer wants to be affiliated with Russia. So now it's Stoli. It's not Stolinaka anymore. Like, what are you people doing? Like, this is literally, and I'm not surprised. I'm getting a little fired up on it, but it's nothing new, right? This is the exact same thing as the Black Lives Matter movement, where all the Black people that were out in the streets of New York were like, hey, we want to stop getting killed by cops. And the mayor of New York was like, oh yeah, I hear you. Here's a mural. Here's a mural in fucking Manhattan somewhere. And it's like, no. We want political reform. Yeah. No, I hear you. Here's a dance. We're going to put on an African dance for you. Like that was one of the things, I think it was Bloomberg. That's one of the things he did. He had like an African themed dance. And it's like, dude, not only are you not helping, that's borderline racist. Like you put on like an African themed dance. Like what? How is that? How are people not calling that racist? Or like pick any of this bullshit that we've done over the last 2 years when it's been like, hey, we want this, or yeah, Black Lives Matter. We want this. We want to be important. We want to be taken seriously. Oh yeah, I hear you. We'll take on Jemima off the bottle. It's like, no, I don't think you're listening. And that's literally, it's just the same thing. It's like, ooh, Russia's bad. Stop selling Russian vodka. Okay. Russia's invading the Ukraine. That's really bad. What can we do? Let's take the president who used to be an actor and let's put his old TV show on Netflix. Like, I don't think you guys understand. Like, you say you get it, but I really don't think you get it.
No one gets it. It's all fucking show.
Yeah. And it's like, and people just fucking eat it up. Like, because the masses are so fucking stupid.
Good for Netflix.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. I love Netflix.
Thank God for Netflix.
Yeah. Thank God for Netflix. Everyone will forget that though in 2 months when they fucking, or 6 months when they announce that they're going to start charging people for sharing their passwords. I saw that the other day. They're implementing this thing in like 3 or 4 other countries around the world, that they're going to track where, like, the IP address or like the Wi-Fi connection or however they're going to do it. And if your Netflix account is being linked to multiple different Wi-Fi connections, they're going to charge you an extra like $2.25 a month for that or something. So everyone right now that's like, oh, thank God for Netflix. Well, remember that in 6 months when it fucking comes to the United States, that they're going to start charging people for sharing their Netflix password. And then we'll see if they're still saying thank God for Netflix.
Yeah, but right now, thank God for Netflix. They saved the day.
Yeah, they put this fucking TV show on. So while we're talking about stupidity, let's just fucking keep this rolling here. So this is really funny. So I get this. Oh, fuck the New York Times. So I'm going to have to just fucking roll with this one. But so there was an article in the New York Times that they won't let me read, and I'm not paying to read the fucking New York Times. So I'll read you the headline and then we'll fill in the blanks from there. So this is the COVID and the quote very liberal are still worried. Or I'm sorry, the quote very liberal are still worried about COVID-19. So people that identify as very liberal, right? So again, we're sticking with the role of stupidity. COVID's fucking over. Thanks to Putin. The one good thing Putin did was he ended COVID because he's threatening World War III. So that's cool. But this is a new poll by Morning Consult found that Americans who identify as, quote, very liberal are significantly more worried about COVID-19 than all other groups. 47% of the people that reported being very liberal said COVID-19 poses a great risk, compared with only 22% and 18% among those who identify as just liberal or only slightly liberal. So people that are very liberal, almost half of them are very concerned still with COVID. So this is great to me, because we're starting to see all the backtracking that's going on now. The CDC came out like 3 days ago and said that, oh, by the way, we fucked up when we counted the deaths. So we're going to retroactively go back and fix all of those, because they said, they used the word chaotic. They said that the time was very chaotic and we were just counting deaths and we weren't really analyzing them. So that's our bad. We're going to go back and we're going to readjust the numbers. So they're backpedaling hardcore right now, because those times when we talked about on this show of the person that died of the heroin overdose. And then remember, I read that article. The very first paragraph was like someone that died of a heroin overdose. And then the very first sentence of the second paragraph said it was the youngest person to die of COVID so far or something. Yeah. And it's like, all right, you guys are fucking, you're dumb. But now they're backtracking, right? They're going through and they're doing all that. But they went so hard, right? The liberals, the leftists in this country went so hard for COVID. And they convinced so many people that this was the fucking Spanish flu or the bubonic plague, right? That now they're fucked, because their hardcore followers are stuck and they're out there and they're talking all this shit and they're trying to backpedal. So this is another thing too. I saw this the other day. Someone posted it with Nancy Pelosi was on the podium giving a speech, and someone asked her about COVID. They go, So what do you think about, everything that's going on with COVID and the CDC changing retroactively some stuff there? Her response was essentially, how dare you talk about that while there are atrocities going on in the Ukraine and people are dying? So then the reporter comes back and goes, well, people are still dying in this country of COVID. So I think it's still a pretty relevant concern to a lot of people. And then she just fucking blew him off. So it's like, do we see it yet? Do we see it yet? Have we not? We still don't realize that this has been just a fucking circus the whole time. And it's been a dog and pony show. That this dumb bitch who was up there saying that COVID is the worst fucking thing ever, and then got caught getting her hair done in a salon while all the salons were closed in her fucking district of San Francisco, and now is being asked about COVID and she doesn't want to talk about it. Have we figured out yet that what's going on and what's been happening with this? That all of the people for the last 2 years that have been saying that COVID's not that bad, and that were called heretics, that were called conspiracy theorists, that were called pieces of shit. Turns out maybe they weren't so wrong after all. That doesn't mean that it's nothing, right? Like, it's not the sniffles. Like, again, I had it and it was a cold, you know what I mean? Like it was whatever. Like I was fine. Like it felt like a sinus infection. So it's not nothing, right? It's not nothing, but it's not the fucking bubonic plague. It's not the Spanish flu. It's not like the worst fucking thing ever. But because the leftists were pushing that narrative so hard, their base won't let it go. So now they're fucked because 47% of people that identify as very liberal are extremely concerned still 2 years later with COVID. So I look at it like, you dug your own grave on this one, you dumb fucks. You pushed it so hard that people followed you right into the fucking grave. And now you're like, oh, no, it's not that big of a deal anymore. And these people are like, oh, yes, it is. You told us for 2 years it was the worst thing ever. We're not just going to turn around now and be like, oh, it's nothing because you don't want to talk about it during a press conference. Oh, no. So this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome to watch the fucking Democrats just fucking implode over this, because their base is still right. Half of their base, right, according to this poll, is still extremely concerned about COVID. So this is a chance for Republicans now on the campaign trail. If you're in a debate, right, you toss up the question about COVID. Oh, what do you think we should do about COVID? And if the Democrat goes, oh, well, COVID's not really a concern right now, turn it around. Be like, well, it's not a concern because I have tape. I have tweets. I have transcripts. I have everything over the last 24 months of you saying that this is really bad. We need to extend lockdowns. We need to mask mandate. We need to vaccinate everyone. This is terrible. Like, this is so bad that we need to institute a nationwide health policy that mandates a vaccine, something that's never been done before. This is how bad this is. But now you don't want to talk about it? Dude, that should be a fucking layup, but they'll fuck it up.
Of course. On that note, though, similar to what you were talking about with the kids in the class, where it's like, okay, you don't have to wear masks anymore, and now they want fucking hand sanitizer and wipes and all that shit.
Yeah.
I think I've seen more gloves in the grocery store in the last 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Than I have since, say, June 2020, because people were wearing gloves and shit like in the grocery store before then.
Right.
Like,
well, people were wiping their groceries down. People were going to the store, bringing their shit back, and then rubbing their shit down with alcohol wipes.
So like the 3 month, so like say April, May, June, that's kind of like when things started to like relax a little bit. So since then, dude, I swear to God, I have never seen so many gloves in my fucking life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't see this many gloves before. What changed now? And it's definitely that idea, like, oh, well, now people aren't wearing masks. Like,
yeah,
it's still really bad. And it's like, It never fucking was.
Nope. It never was that bad. It never was. All of the craziness, everything that was going around. You and I sat here. You have said from the very beginning, it's really not that bad. Even like with the vaccine shit, more likely to do nothing than it is anything good or bad. And it's like,
well, it's more likely to do nothing than harm.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, all of this shit over the last 2 years is going to come back and it's going to bite them in the ass. And I'm all for it.
I'm just in for the chaos, but I won't pay attention though. That's the only difference. Like I can't bask in it.
Yeah. Well, I'll fill you in. Because all the podcasts that I listen to, they all talk about it. That's how I know about it. Like if I didn't listen to podcasts, I wouldn't know half of the shit that goes on. Like if I just listened to 98.5 The Sports Hub and went back and forth between that and music, I would have no idea. I don't watch the news. I don't read fucking newspapers. I don't do any of that shit. I get 90% of my news from podcasts. And even then it's a lot of like, I hear other people talking about it and their opinions. And then like, if it's something that seems like it makes sense, I'll just fucking be like, yeah, it makes sense. And I'll kind of adopt it as my own thought. But if it's something that's like, I don't know, I feel like I need to learn a little bit more about that, I'll go fucking Google it and I'll search some shit and I'll try and learn a little bit more about it. But like I said, like if I didn't listen to other podcasts, like I wouldn't know half of the shit that's going on. And then this podcast would essentially, we'd have to turn it into a golf podcast.
Golf and gambling, because I listen to.
We'd have nothing else to talk about.
I was say golf, gambling, smoking meat.
Yeah. Cooking meat.
We're cooking meat too?
Yeah, cooking too. Yeah, smoking meat and then also cooking.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Man, things would be simpler.
Yeah. Because then I don't know if you've seen this. I've seen it kind of blasted around Instagram a little bit that both Moderna and Pfizer have lobbied the FDA for authorization for a fourth shot.
Yeah, I mean, like we're still. I don't have time for this shit.
We're still doing this. That's my exact response. So I saw. I got this from Jerry News. So they posted on Instagram. It was just like a title card. It's a picture of like a needle going into a vial and it says fourth dose. And it says Moderna has asked the FDA to approve a fourth dose of its COVID-19 vaccine. And then all the comments underneath are just like, we don't care anymore. And then another one is like, we're still doing this. And then this is my favorite one. It goes, everyone knows the fourth film in the franchise is the best one. But it's like, that's everyone's response at this point. It's like, you're still doing this? Like, but we said that, right? We said that back in fucking August. We were like, you got the first one. Then they're trying to push the booster, right? Everyone's got to get a booster. And it's like, well, you're probably going to have to get a third shot. And people go out and get third shots. And now they're like, well, you're going to have to get a fourth shot too. And it's like, when does it end? Right? Yeah. When does it end? And there's been people on Twitter that have said that back in the fall that were like, when are you going to put your foot down? Is it the 12th shot? Is it the 35th shot? Is it the second? Like, when are you as an individual going to say enough is enough? I'm not going to get one of these fucking things every 6 months. Or are you just going to fucking take it and get it every 6 months? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, again, it just depends on it just depends on the trade-off. That's all it has ever come down to.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do sometimes?
Yeah. It's
again, the same reason why you can't the same reason why you individually can't help the Ukraine is the same reason why you can't always put your foot down and stick it to the fucking government. Right. Because what they'll tell you is then it's like, oh, your buddy's wedding. Yeah, you can't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. It's like, okay, well, I don't have to go, but our buddy's wedding isn't about me. It's about him.
Right.
It's not my wedding. It's not about me.
Right.
Turning it into about me just makes me an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's like, that again, that's the trade-off. It's like, especially living in Massachusetts, if you live in like a real fucking state, then you get to fucking actually have a little bit more choice, but you just don't get it here. Now, again, it ended up working out, but
right. Yeah, it's just fucking, it's all dumb. I was furious when I sat to get the shot, whatever, a few weeks ago. I was fuming when I was sitting there. I hated everything about it. But it is what it is. I couldn't back out because I needed this job that I start tomorrow. So, because I'm really fucking glad that I am not going back to that school ever again.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. It's funny because it's like the people. It's like, oh, when are you gonna stand up? I don't fucking know. Like,
yeah,
when I can, I don't know. Like, when am I? Like, it's, dude. This ain't the 1700s. You can't just fucking do what you want when you want. It just doesn't work that way. And that's just fucking. And it shouldn't be that way, but it fucking is. And it's like, oh, that's not how this is supposed to. That's not how this country's supposed to run. Don't matter.
Right. That's how it ran when there was, 600,000 people in the country in 1795.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you could walk into
now
a
there's
government
330 million people in the country.
How about this? When you could walk into a government official's office and shove a gun in his mouth and get what you want.
Yeah.
Then you can stand up for your fucking liberties.
Yeah. When you could challenge the fucking Secretary of the Treasury to pistols at noon. Like, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're like, what's his face? Who was that? Aaron Burr, when he challenged Alexander Hamilton to a fucking duel. Like, Alexander Hamilton was the Secretary of Treasury in the United States. And someone was like, fuck you, I don't like you. Let's duel. Pistols at noon. All right, pistols at noon. And then he fucking shot him and killed him. Like, you can't do that anymore. I can't go knock on fucking Elizabeth Warren's desk or door and be like, I don't like you. Pistols at noon.
Slap her in the face with a glove.
Yeah, exactly.
I challenge you to a duel.
Yeah. I challenge you to a duel. Like, that doesn't work like that anymore.
No, and it's like, even like in the revolutionary times, you didn't like something, you fucking rebelled.
Yeah.
We didn't even have an actual rebellion, and people are still talking about the Capitol.
Yes. Yeah, they can't stop.
The Capitol got stormed with, like, I don't know what the fucking point of that. My
favorite thing is they call it an insurrection. And it's like, you clearly don't know the definition of an insurrection.
Yeah.
It was an insurrection.
You're really stretching the definition.
Yeah. It was an insurrection where everyone left their guns at home.
Yeah. And it's like, but like the outrage still to this day. And it's like, if you want to do like the founding fathers argument, it's like they would have applauded the fuck out of that.
Yes. Yeah. They would have been like, oh, you don't like what the government's doing?
And you chose to fucking do something
about it. Like Jefferson and Adams and all those guys would have gave him a fucking fist bump. They would have been like, pound it, brother. That's exactly what we thought of when we built this country. We're like, if shit gets too wonky, blow it up. Go fucking start over. Like, that's what we do. Like, that's this whole thing. And it's like, but no, it was a threat to democracy. Like, no, actually, it's probably a lot closer to what the country was founded on than a threat to democracy. Like, it's, if anything, it's trying to keep democracy honest. But then in the response to it, we now are less democratic, right? Because now it's like fucking, they try to pass laws that like stop all this shit. They put up fences around the Capitol. Like, they fucking jump it up, right? They make it worse. And it's like, no, this is what they were trying to fight against. You're proving their point. Like, you're making them look Now, I don't want to say sane because they're definitely not sane because you've stormed the fucking Capitol building of the
War
United
paint.
States. Yeah, in war paint and a fucking buffalo hat. And you walked out with Nancy Pelosi's lectern. Like, you're not sane, but you're at least like you said, like it's closer to like how the founding fathers would have thought than it is like, oh, well, now we need to pass sweeping legislation to enforce more laws. It's like, no, that's not what this country's about. The country was founded on rebellions. Like,
Quite literally.
It was founded on rebellions, like multiple rebellions.
One big one in particular.
Yeah, one big one in particular, but still, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we had the whole thing. We had a government set up, and then we were like, nah, fuck this. It's not that good. So we ripped it up and we started over. Like, we had the Articles of Confederation. Like, we had a government. I think it was like 6 years, something like that. We had the government, and we were like, that kind of fucking sucks. Let's start over. And they started over. Like, I don't know. It's just wild. It's wild to hear like modern day politicians be like, well, the founding fathers are rolling over in their grave. And it's like, no, they're fucking applauding. They're applauding
over
from
in their grave listening to you, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop being a cunt. Fucking loser.
Imagine that if like the corpse to fucking Ben Franklin come back and just start calling people cunts.
He definitely would have. Ben Franklin was a baller. He used to fuck with people. I found out that Ben Franklin was one of the reasons why daylight savings time was first implemented, because he was trolling European countries. I think Germany and one other country in Europe were the first two countries to adopt daylight savings time. And part of it was because of Ben Franklin. He was fucking with them. Like, he told them like, oh yeah, you should just change the time. Because they had they had some sort of like, they were trying to save money with energy or something because of whatever it was. And Ben Franklin was like, oh, you should just change the time. Just change the clocks. And then like it eventually turned into daylight savings time. Like, apparently Ben Franklin was a huge fucking troll. Like, he was the OG troll. Like, he used to just fuck with people all the time.
He is one of our greatest presidents.
He is one of our greatest presidents. Yeah, that is true. Why else would he be on the $100 bill?
Exactly. Did he invent money?
Yeah, probably.
Or no, he invented electricity and freedom. I remember that.
Yes, yeah.
But there's a lot of people with Franklin derangement syndrome out there.
It's just wild. It's the whole thing is just fucking crazy. People are so stupid. That's why I hate everybody.
Myself included.
And most things. It's like the Ron Swanson thing where I get all of my stuff and most of my things.
Yeah,
that's why I hate everybody and most things.
Yeah, things and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I buy all of my things and most of my stuff.
Yeah. You want to wrap this up? I think it's about that time.
We can wrap this up.
We've been ranting and raving.
So Friday night we ordered a buffalo chicken pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Napoli. I don't know. There's like 3 locations, like Quincy, Weymouth, or something. I don't know. Whatever. And it was good, but I was thinking, because before we ordered it, Michaela she was like, "Oh, what about a buffalo chicken pizza?" And I just said, "Yeah." And I'm like, thinking in my head, I'm like, man, though, buffalo chicken pizza really is hit or miss.
Yeah.
Because if it's good, it's really fucking good.
Right.
And if it's not, woof. Like,
yeah.
When it's bad, it is fucking bad.
Yes.
And it's like, again, we don't order it that often. I mean, again, it's like, it's very rare that like I go and I'm like, you know what I really want is a buffalo chicken pizza. I'd rather probably go buffalo chicken wrap or buffalo chicken tenders or something.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, it was fine. But I was thinking, because again, when it's fucking bad, it is bad.
Yeah.
Not like a pepperoni pizza where it's like, if a pepperoni pizza is bad, it's still kind of fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm like trying to think, is that one of those foods where it's like, if it's not done correctly, is it fucking borderline inedible? But when it's done correctly, it's really good. And
Yeah.
I don't know what other, and I think it's just because there's so much room for interpretation. Cause it's like the one we got was buffalo chicken, a separate entity
Yep.
on the pizza, that two separate entities meeting together.
Right.
Whereas some people, they try to make like the sauce is buffalo sauce.
Yes.
And it's like the chicken is like regular chicken. And it's like, no, this doesn't fucking work. And the cheese sucks and it's not cooked right.
Right. Right.
And it's like, no, this is a disaster. Whatever the fuck this thing is.
Yeah. Whatever you tried to give me sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. And then
Yeah.
never mind, buffalo sauce can be very hit or miss because some people try to make it themselves and it's like, bro,
Yep.
Frank's makes a pretty good one. Like, just fucking use it.
Just play the hits, dude. Just give me the Franks.
Like you try to make your own, and it's like, this sucks.
Or like
I don't
a
know what
Texas
this
Pete.
tastes like.
Like a Texas Pete is great.
Yeah, like whatever. I mean, again, it's like there are some solid buffalo sauces out there.
Yeah.
And I know like typically it's hot sauce, butter, and yellow mustard, Dijon mustard, some type of mustard.
Yeah. Some say
Like that's all it is.
yeah.
But it's like, what do some of you people do? Like, why does this taste so bad?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with this?
Yeah. Or like the people that try and make like instead of like the marinara sauce as the base, they'll do like blue cheese as the base. And then
so it's like a white pizza.
Yeah, or like an Alfredo. Like I've had some really fucked up buffalo chicken pizzas before.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah.
I have found every buffalo chicken pizza that's been successful, the sauce is good, or we'll just say the sauce is correct.
Yeah.
The buffalo sauce is correct.
Yep.
And it's buffalo chicken that becomes the topping.
Yes.
Buffalo chicken is a topping for a pizza.
What you did was you made a plain cheese pizza and you cut up buffalo chicken fingers and you threw them on the top as a topping.
That's always the most successful version I've seen. The worst adaptations I've seen are when the sauce, like you try to do buffalo sauce, or it's like a floppy pizza. Like you don't cook the pizza well. You have a wrong strategy.
Yeah, your base sauce is a buffalo sauce.
Yeah, like and it doesn't taste that good. And then you try to like mix in like you don't just take the cheese that you normally use for pizza. You're using something different because it's like, oh, this it's buffalo chicken. This necessitates a different type of cheese. Nope, it doesn't.
Nope.
Put the fucking pizza blend.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought it was one of those things like, because there's not too many foods where, generally speaking, they have a very high top end and a very low bottom.
Yeah. I would say I would throw seafood, like fish in particular, on that list, where like if done correctly, fish is fucking delicious. But like if you overcook it and it gets dry and gross, it can be really fucking shitty.
Yeah, but even fish, my only problem with fish is I don't think the top end is as high as a lot of people like to give it credit for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Outside of a couple.
That's a fair point.
So like if you were to get like Chilean sea bass, or like I don't even remember, dude, I don't know. I can't afford fucking seafood anymore. So it's like I haven't gotten like halibut. Like, is a halibut steak pretty good? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten that shit in a long time. And it's like with those, it's like, again, it's good, but it's like, dude, this is just fish.
Yeah.
Like it can only be so good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a fair point. The high isn't that high, but the low can be very fucking low.
Yeah.
Like a poorly cooked fish is like it borderline inedible.
Yeah, and then like, or like the choice of using tilapia, that's a problem. Yep. Tilapia is gross.
Yep.
But yeah, I think like generally like most things are usually like, again, it's like how bad can a burger really be?
Yeah. Right. Because you can dress it up. Even if you overcook it and it's dry, Like you can throw bacon, you can throw
Yeah.
cheese, you can throw mustard or
Whatever.
barbecue sauce. You can put whatever the fuck you want on it. You know what I mean? Like you can dress it up. You can get away with it. That's a good point. I'm trying to think of some other thing that would be like at its peak is really fucking good, but it can be really bad if it gets fucked up. Turkey?
No,
No, that's it. It's not that
because
high.
again,
The high is not
ceiling,
that high. Yeah, the
the
ceiling isn't that high.
especially with turkey, the ceiling is fried.
Right.
So if you choose not to fry it, we're almost talking about a different food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even then, like the fried turkey, it's like you actually don't even have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
Like I think I just dry brine or dry rub, I guess. I don't know what the fucking difference is. I just dry rub the fucker and that's it.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to do anything to it.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else.
I mean, there's definitely options. I mean, there's definitely things too, but the buffalo chicken definitely spoke to me because, again, I always feel like I'm playing with fire.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, buffalo chicken pizza. It's like,
yeah.
All right.
It could be really good, or I could be angry by the end of it.
But luckily, the one we got was good.
Yeah.
Credit to you, fucking Napoli or whatever. I don't know where you're located.
Shout out to Napoli's, wherever the fuck you're from.
I mean, there's one in Quincy, one in Weymouth. I don't know if there's more, and I don't know which one we got it from. So
yeah. All right. So my final thought is has to do with FedEx. So I was very surprised the other day. So my new job, again, I start tomorrow or today, I guess, when this comes out. They sent me a laptop, right, for work. And they mailed it to me with FedEx. But because it's a laptop, right, it's a lot of money. They're not just going to leave it on my front porch. So they required a signature. So talking to the person that works for my new company, they were like, are you going to be home at all during the week that you can sign? And I worked at the school every day last week. So I was like, no, I'm not. So they were like, all right, cool. We'll mark it as a hold for pickup at your whatever nearest FedEx location. So luckily there's a FedEx literally 5 minutes away from me. So I get the notification that it's delivered. It's ready to be picked up. So I go to the FedEx and I walk up to the counter and there's a guy there and he goes, can I help you? And I go, yeah, I'm picking up a package. He's like, oh, what's the name? I go, it's Jared Mello. And he goes to the back and he finds it. He brings it to the front. And before he gives it to me, he's like, what's the address on it? I tell him my address. And he's like, all right, can I just see your license? So I give him my license and he looks at it and he goes, this doesn't have your address on it. And I go, turn it over on the back. Yeah, it does. Because my license says 1409 East Street in Mansfield, because that's where we used to live. And that's where we lived when I renewed my license when I was 25, 26, however old, 26, I think it was
26.
So that's where it was. Like, it's what it is. But I updated it in the RMV system. And what they tell you to do is write in permanent marker on the back. There's a line on the back of your license if you live in Massachusetts. And it says, place change of address on this line. So I did. And then I put a little piece of Scotch tape over it too, just so like the Sharpie wouldn't like rub off over time. So we're all good. So I go, oh, it's on the back. And he flips it over and he goes, yeah, this isn't going to work. And I go, what do you mean it's not going to work? He's like, well, your address isn't on here. And I'm like, yeah, it's written on the back. Like I moved last year. It's changed in the RMV. Like they didn't send me a new license because I didn't renew it. And he's like, well, do you have anything with your name on it? Like a rent or a mortgage or anything? And I go, no, the mortgage is in my fiance's name. My name's not on it. And he's like, well, I don't know. Got like a utility bill or anything? And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, just give me my fucking laptop. It's my name, it's my address. Like, I wanted to be like, dude, my new company mailed me. You can I open up the box. There's a fucking laptop inside, right? Yeah, because it's mine, because my company just fucking mailed it to me. So this guy's giving me the hardest fucking time to get this thing. And so I go on northattleboroughelectric.com and I log into my account and I go, is this going to cut it? And it says my name and the address and it says North Attleboro Electric. And he goes, I don't know. I'm going to have to ask. So I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what, are we seriously doing this? So he goes in the back and gets a manager and brings the manager out and goes like, hey, Tom, whatever the fuck the guy's name is. He's got nothing with his address on it, but this is his North Attleboro Electric utility, and it's got the address on it. Can we accept this? And the guy, Tom, the manager, comes over and looks and goes, where's the address? And I point on my phone, my address, and he goes, shit, I don't know. Yeah, fine, whatever, it's good enough. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck do you guys do at FedEx that like you need to be this thorough? Like, you came in and you asked for my name, my address. I gave you both. I showed you a photo ID. It's me. It's my name on the photo ID. It's a license. I told you where I live. I produced a fucking North Attleboro Electric with my address on it. And you're still going to give me a hard time about it? Like, who the fuck do you guys think you are? Like, what the fuck does FedEx do that's so important that they need like complete verified proof of like all kinds of shit? And I'm like, I was in there for like 20 minutes. Like, it should have been like, hey, I'm here to pick up a package. What's your name? Tell her the name. Oh, what's the address? Give them the address. All right. Can I see your license? All right. Yep. This is definitely you. All right. Have a nice day. But instead, it turned into this whole fucking thing that took 20 minutes because this guy didn't want to give me this laptop. I was ready to be like, listen, man, it's for a new job. I will call my new boss that I have never met before outside of on a Zoom call, and I will have him explain to you what's inside of the box. Will you give it to me then? Like, I was ready to do that because it was like, what do you think is in this box? It's being delivered to me. It's how many Jared Mellos live in North Attleboro? I can tell you one. I know for a fact. One. I'm the only one. Like, there's another Jared Mello that lives in Fall River, but the address on that package says North Attleboro. Like, I was so mad. I was like, just give me the fucking laptop so I can leave and start my new job on Monday.
Well, when we got to the rental car in Austin, I got a notification from FedEx. It was a text. It was like, oh, signature verification required for your FedEx, whatever. I'm like, well, that's not fucking right. Like, yeah. Why? Like, I didn't get anything that requires a signature.
Yeah.
So I look at my email and I saw that I had ordered a golf club and I saw it was coming via FedEx. I go, oh, shit. So I didn't go to the text because I thought it was a spam text.
Right.
I went through my email to track it and was like, arriving early, we'll be there Friday, signature required. I'm like, shit. I'm in Austin. Michaela's going to be in Vermont. No one's going to be able to sign for this fucking thing. It's a fucking $76 golf club. It's fucking 5 years old and I bought it used. Why the fuck do I need a signature?
Yeah.
Maybe because it was coming from Canada, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I go on and I'm like trying to I'm trying to log in because you need to log in for whatever reason. And it's like, oh, well, wrong password. Go, all right, forget password. There's no email with this. All right, create a new account. Your account already exists. Okay. What the fuck? Yeah. So somehow I get to a point where it's like signature required. If you need to redirect it, whatever, or you can sign it online. I go, okay. So I go through all that just so that I can type my name in a box on FedEx and that counts as the signature requirement before it got delivered.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? What? Huh? What?
Yeah. But they wouldn't give me my laptop that was shipped to me.
Well, yeah, dude. You have no proof of address.
Yeah.
It's not like the state of Massachusetts says just handwrite it on the back.
Right. It's not like there's a line on the back of the license that says place change of address here.
Yeah. No, there's nothing like that.
Yeah. What is this? What do you work for, the fucking Secret Service guy? It's FedEx. Give me my fucking package.
They're trying to supersede the fucking RMV.
Yeah. I was like I said, I was in there for 20 minutes. It should have been 5 minutes tops. I got to go get my manager. And even the manager was like, he like thought about it. I feel like he was going to be like, we're not supposed to, but I don't give a fuck. I think that was the attitude. Like he was like, I'm supposed to say no, but I'm just going to say yes because I don't give a fuck. But like employee of the month, fucking dick face that's taking care of me is like, well, we can't give him the package. Like imagine that. Like imagine trying to explain that to my new job, being like, hey, FedEx won't give me this laptop. So will you talk to them? Imagine, will you talk to them for me? It's a great way to start off the fucking gig.
That would have been good.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, fuck FedEx at the end of the day. So I'm a Team Brown guy. What can Brown do for you? UPS all the way. FedEx sucks dick.
What's the other one? DHL.
Yeah.
DHL.
Yeah. Or just regular old post office. That works too, you know.
I had some guy from Walmart deliver something right out of a fucking van the other day. Like a minivan, like a personal minivan.
Yeah, Amazon guys do that now too. They use their personal cars. I've seen that a few times. Yeah, probably. Or like they ran out of fucking delivery vans, so they just have them use their own cars. Or if they're like a part-timer, I mean, like I wonder if someone's like a part-time delivery driver, they're not going to give them an Amazon truck, you know.
I think it also has to do like, so the Walmart, I ordered for the gym, I ordered a vacuum and trash bags.
Yeah.
Someone must have just ran to the closest Walmart, grabbed the trash bags and brought them to me.
Right. Yeah.
Because the vacuum didn't come with it.
Oh.
That's coming separate.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, that's going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, thanks for listening wherever you are. Don't forget, like, rate, subscribe, review, all that happy jazz. Shout out to mybookie.com. Use our promo code sarcasmpod at mybookie.com to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Also, big thank you to grillyourassoff.com. Use the promo code, same promo code actually, Sarcasm Pod, for 15% off your entire order every single time you check out over there. It's a multi-use coupon. You can get all kinds of stuff. I just ordered a bunch of seasonings today. So get on it. And that's grillyourassoff.com again, and mybookie.com. Both of those promo codes, Sarcasm Pod. You can get us on Twitter at sarcasm_speaks. Our Instagram is at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Wow, I blanked on that. I forgot what it was for a second. Our Facebook page is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the blog. You can see all my fucking gambling posts. I finally hit a bet this week. I cashed Luke Donald in the top 20 at plus 650. So that at least covered my all my other bets of the weekend. So I got out of the weekend even thanks to Luke Donald, my top 20 bet, because I missed all of my other ones. So yeah, I think that's all of it. So until next time, good night, everybody.